here. All right, folks, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. This is the kickoff, kind of like an intimate preview of a new series that I'm trying to get started with the help of all my musician friends and the people who care about the area. And it's the American Roots Historical Songwriting Series. And the thought behind it is that as I travel the country and everything, I always go to museums and I go to landmarks and I listen to other musicians and stuff and their stories. And it's very valid to our community. This is a marriage of taking old traditional roots and merging them with new roots. So I wanted to start this series so that we can bring exposure to the things we love most in New York, and we can also bring exposure to the artists in New York. I've been traveling with some Songwriter series down south, and every time I go down there, I go, man, if they could only see what New York is about. All they see is New York City. So I'm like, if they could only see what New York City is not New York, you know, I mean, the beauty that we have here, and also the artists. Every time I listen, I get kind of like, I get nervous when I go on that stage. I'm always nervous. I'm nervous right now, really bad. But when I go onto a stage, I'm like, how am I going to measure up? How am I going to measure up? And then I listen to these other artists, and even though they're very good, what we got here is amazing. I mean, I lived in Seattle half my life. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona. I've traveled all over the country singing USO tours. I came here, and I was one of those people who thought I was going to New York City, landed at Hancock Airport, and was like, where am I? But I made my home here, and New York has been very good to me. You know, just letting me have a platform to have a voice. So that's why this series was born. And I'm going to bring up Mcharrie real quick to talk about the museum and why we picked this place to kick off this series. She didn't know she was doing it, but she's doing it.
Sorry if I do it from here.
Yeah, definitely. Just raise your voice. You're a school teacher.
I can do that. On behalf of the Board of Mcharrie's Legacy, I'd like to welcome you all to the museum at the Jacksboro Schoolhouse. And Kay has asked me to tell you a little bit about our museum. This was an active one-room schoolhouse until the 1950s. It was located farther out on Canton Street Road. And several people in the village for the bicentennial decided, let's save that schoolhouse. So they jacked it up on a truck. They let Niagara Mohawk know they were coming, and the wires were moved out of the way, and the whole thing was moved down here, plunked here on a new foundation, and we even added a bathroom. So then they said, okay, what are we going to do with it? And they offered it eventually to any organization that had a plan. And Mcharrie's Legacy had a plan. We decided it would make a really nice local history museum. And so that's what it's been since the mid-'80s. We have several changing exhibits a year. The one that will be installed here is about Baldwinsville in the summer. There'll be all kinds of displays and exhibits on farming and on sports and on all kinds of activities that take place in Baldwinsville in the summer. We have many events during the year. Peony Fest coming up, and Kay has asked me to tell you a little about that. In the 20s, there was a peony farm out on Route 370 if you go out towards Beaver Lake, and you know where the 690 overpass is. Indian Springs Farm was out there, and one of the plants that they raised and shipped all over the country was peonies. So if at this time of year you were to travel out that way in the 20s and early 30s, those hills were just covered in all different colors of peonies. B.F. Goodrich, the man, passed away. His wife tried to keep the business going. The Depression hit, and the business did not survive, but the peony stock did. And one of our members is a master gardener. She knew the stock was out there, and she said, you know, we should maybe get permission to dig some of that up, which is what happened. And the peony beds that you notice out here are from the original stock of Indian Springs Farm. So it's a continuation of the museum's exhibits. So the first Saturday in June, we have Peony Fest to celebrate all those peonies, and you will find that they are in bloom usually on the first Saturday in June. There's singles, there's doubles, there's whites, there's pinks, there's roses. It's really lovely. So we invite you to come, and we also have artists and craftsmen. We have food, and we have music thanks to Kay's efforts. So June 3rd this year. Thank you, Kay. And
Thank you. Now, if you look at this poster that I used for the songwriting series, that was a schoolhouse that was tore down, that was in the corner. And I love this picture because it has all the elements of, like it's got the baby carriage and people like kind of going towards a landmark that's no longer here, but it is in the corner of the field. And every summer it had a foundation made out of lime, and it's kind of spooky, but the grass burns off and this foundation rises, and you're like, I think it's kind of cool, but anyway. So I'm going to kick it off with a couple songs, then I'm going to turn the mic over to these artists. We are going to have original songwriters at the Peony Fest, and I have a gypsy caravan with a stage on the back, so you get to check that out. It's made out of recycled stuff. So basically, this is all about old roots meeting new roots. I got my grandpa's boots on, and they are his, because he's the one that, he played for Hank Williams, he played for Doris Day, and he gave me my first guitar. This is a tribute to him. So this is called The American Dream. All her life she worked hard, trying to make the loose ends meet. Now her stomach's tied nuts and she can't get sleep, and there's never enough time between work and family. And as the voice in her head screaming, what about me? What about me? Is this supposed to be the American dream? Getting deeper in debt until it buries me. The pressure's got us falling apart at the seams. That's the price for the home of the free, and to live in the American dream. She thinks she'll go back to school, maybe finish her degree. Her husband tells her it's okay, just don't get too busy. You know we need your second job. You know you can't afford to quit, and you will watch the kids, 'cause I don't babysit. Best you forget about it. Is this supposed to be the American dream? Getting deeper in debt until it buries me. The pressure's got us falling apart at the seams. That's the price for the home of the free, and to live in the American dream. Looking back through all of these years, her life has been one big compromise. Every time someone takes a piece of her, a part of her spirit dies. She says it's supposed to be the American dream, getting deeper in debt until it buries me. The pressure's got us falling apart at the